Hey, what's happening, boys? What a time to be alive. We got day baseball, we got day NBA, we got night baseball. After months hiatus, we got everything coming at us fast and furious. I'm smiling ear to ear. Bring on some basketball. Some fun games last night, man. It's the Clippers, Bucks, and Lakers who are just like the favorites all year long. Like they all look extremely susceptible right now.
Yeah, especially in my opinion, the two that played today, because they're down 1-0. We'll see how they respond today. Not too worried about any of those, but in this bubble situation, a lot of weird shit is bound to happen.
I'm only worried about it because they're not the same teams they were pre-bubble. Like the Lakers can't shoot, the Bucks can't defend, and the Clippers look slow and old and disinterested. Like the only reason they're tied 1-1 is because Porzingis got ejected more than likely. So like Luka looks hungry. The Mavs look too fast for the Lakers. I mean, this is fun. I'm having a good time watching the NBA. Even if my Bucks get like knocked out, like I'm still having a blast watching the NBA right now.
Hey, that's all you can ask for.
Right. I mean, after months of watching Netflix and missing sports, this is great, guys. So if you're into the game, getting a lot of hype over at Overlay the last couple of days, people having fun playing these progressive jackpots. I love the NBA playoffs over there. Even yesterday, I felt like I started off slow. Still finished the day 8-4. So like wasn't far out of the money, getting psyched to get back into it today. I'll do a breakdown on this one in just a little bit. The jackpot was won. We brought about our guy DFS Wolfpack won it the other day. Shout out to him for the nice tip he sent us as well. We got MLB to talk about, and the MLB jackpot's approaching $5,000. So get in there and try to win that bad boy. And don't forget about the Slump Buster Challenge. If you keep entering and you don't win 20 times, they'll just refund your money for you.
Yeah, I mean it's not quite as good as 20K, but we'll take it, and that's how it gets built back up is by people keep playing it.
All right, so we're going to do today's video for the early games only because there's a shortness of time. We're going to do the same thing as yesterday, kind of just like a members only video and a real abbreviated one for everybody. Just there's only so many hours in the day. So we'll start over at the pitching. And I don't know about you, but I mean, from the bottom tier guys here, I just can't with my money logically spend anybody at these bottom four. I don't know about what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I could get on board with Howard here. He's a minimum 4K. He was like popular in his last start. This is more about his price tag than anything else. Listen, Toronto is very up and down, and he's 4K, and he's if he pitches decent, he's got upside here. So
it's a weird slate. Did you look at how cheap Toronto is?
Yeah, Toronto is very cheap. It almost seems like they're priced to face. I don't even know Cliff Lee.
Prime Cliff Lee.
It is a bizarre slate in that regard for sure. So like, I don't like Howard here. I don't want to make that. I don't want that to be the point I get across. I just think you're right in that none of these pitching options, in the lower tier really stand out at all. So the only one I would use would be the guy that's the minimum 4K.
Yeah, so we talk about this a lot when we do these longer videos, and that is, yeah, it's in play, but even you're sitting there saying, like, it's not where your money's going to go, and I'm going to side with you on that one. It's not where my money's going to go either. You can make that play. It's just not a play I think either one of us is really interested in making.
For sure.
I have some interest in Toronto bats. They are very cheap, and I'll go right back to our boy Grichuk, who, I have absolutely no reason, is as hot can be right now. Wrote him yesterday. We talked about him multiple days in a row. He's 3,100. I just don't know how I don't play him today.
Yeah, it's very confusing why Toronto is so cheap. I mean, all over, not just him. You got like Rowdy Tellez, 2,600, Shaw, 3,100. I mean, it makes no sense.
Even their really good players like Biggio is only 4,300.
Which is very easy to roster, especially when you've got other guys that are so cheap. So, yeah.
All right. Now, we've talked about the pitchers we don't like. Where are you looking? Because I can see the debate for everybody in the top five right here. I know James Paxton has the biggest name, but he has not been good for the Yankees. And I know you do not like picking on Tampa Bay. You respect them massively.
Yeah, I'm not interested in Paxton here.
Not but himself this year.
He had that one really good start against Tampa, but then got hit hard at the end of that start. So not interested for me.
Okay. I'm with you. It's hard to look at his ERA above 7 and his whip. To me, the whip's even a bigger deal at this point of the season. He's just giving up base runners left and right. hits too, not just walking guys, right? Giving up home runs. And I'm with you. I don't respect Tampa quite as much as you do, but you've definitely got me really, really on board the Tampa train. So this would be a tough roster for me.
Yeah, cool.
As I'm assuming Giolito will be very popular.
He's got to be, right? I mean, how do you not at least look at Giolito here?
Look, Giolito had that amazing run last year that he'll probably never replicate in the rest of his life because it would be very difficult to anybody to replicate that kind of a run. He's not that good, but he's also probably a little better than he's been pitching so far this season. I know we respect Detroit a little bit for their feistiness, but it's a weak lineup. This is a tough one to fade.
Yeah, for sure. Good spot, best pitcher on the slate. He makes a lot of sense. Well, not the best pitcher on the slate. I think Marquez is better, but he's in a much better spot. And speaking of Marquez, man, he's got to be in play here for us.
Yeah, so you were right about Houston that they got going a little bit yesterday. Marquez was not himself last time out. In fact, it's a little disheartening that he only has 7 Ks over the last 2 starts.
So his last 2 starts, he hasn't been great. That Seattle start, he was meh.
Yeah, I mean, he was real life. He was fine, minus like the non-earned runs. But the 7 Ks over 2 starts gives me a little cause for pause. But I'm still a believer. I don't really want to pick on Houston, but you know how much I love Marquez.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if you were setting one lineup today, would you be Marquez Giolito?
Yeah, I think that's definitely probably the most optimal build. I will say, though, like Javier and Spencer Turnbull, I don't think are out of play here either.
No, so I wanted to talk about Turnbull, who, if you remember last season, if I remember this correctly, he had a really nice start to the year and things came back crashing down to earth really, really quickly. One thing I like about him this year, he hasn't given up a home run yet, which is big. That being said, I don't really want to pick on the White Sox with Spencer Turnbull for 8,600.
Nah, this is one that would be not even consideration on a full slate. And he's probably not the way to go on this slate, but he's in play just because, we only have, 8 pitching options and there are 10 pitching options and 6 of them we have no interest in.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I think the debate for me was right away when I woke up this morning was like, it's hard for me not to play Giolito. I get why anybody would want to probably try to be a little bit different because it's not like he's bulletproof or anything like that. But also with how cheap Toronto is, you can play whoever you want at pitching. So I think gut instinct was Marquez Giolito.
Yeah, I'm with that too. And just for full transparency, I'm not even hardly playing these slates. There's just too much stuff going on right now. We got full NBA slates. We've got full MLB slates, at night. Listen, if I love one of these slates, I'm going to play it, but I don't feel the need to force action here.
Especially because Giolito through Javier, and I'll even put Paxton into that mix. 1, 2, those 5 pitchers. My confidence rankings 1 through 5. It's not strong, right?
No.
Like even yesterday during the day slate, even though I think Flaherty left hurt, I believe, right?
I'm not sure, but I know he only pitched a couple innings.
Yeah, I don't think he even finished the second. So it looked to me like maybe there was an injury. But again, with like you said, so many things going on, I didn't really look into it. I'm with you. I'll play a lineup here. I missed yesterday's day slate, which just because there were so many things going on and just trying to get it all done. It started before I even realized.
It's hard for us too, because we're covering NBA, and NBA now is starting basically at the same time as this early MLB slate. So it's just difficult.
Yeah. Okay. So I think I'm with you, Giolito Marquez, but it's not like I can definitely get on board with Javier over Marquez. We like Trevor Story and Nolan Arenado, but we're not nearly as scared of a right-handed pitcher against them. And do you really want to use 2 guys? I don't know.
One thing I'll say about that for each of these guys, actually. So for Marquez, I don't like that Springer came back last night and homered, but
Agreed.
I do like that Bregman left the game. If he is not in today, I mean, it makes you like Marquez even that much more, right?
Well, he's their best hitter.
Yeah.
So how could it not help you, right?
Yeah. So that's big time. He left pretty early too, I think.
Okay. Well, that is definitely a concern. Okay. All right. Offensively, then kind of knowing that, I don't think you need to load up on Coors Field today, right? We respect Marquez. And even last start where he was he still only gave up 2 earned runs.
Mm-hmm.
which is the most he's given up all year. So I don't think you need to load up on Houston, especially knowing Bregman might be out. We're probably not interested in a lot of Detroit bats, although I want to thank Jamer Candelario for giving me the dub last night. Thank you, big man.
Yeah, he was nice. Glad I recommended him.
Yeah, I mean, I when I was sending the MLB write-up out to our daily customers, I saw that. I put almost no thought into the night slate, but him and Marwin Gonzalez, brought home the bacon of all the,
I'll tell you what,
all guys in the world.
I switched one of my lines to like a Brewer stack, like not full stack, but like the 2 through 5, and man, they blew up.
Yeah, that was fun. So,
Yeah.
For me, this Howard guy, I don't know a ton about Spencer Howard. I know he's been not good in his first 2 starts, allowing 4 home runs and 14 hits over 7.2 innings, which is not great. Toronto is on fire right now, so I know you like the Blue Jays guys, so I'm on board with, Biggio. Grichuk is a lock of locks for me. If the hot streak ends today, so be it. I want him on my roster again today.
There's just no reason he should be 3,100.
No, it's weird.
Yeah, it's very weird.
You said Cliff Lee. I don't even know if a hot lefty like that. You got to give me Roger Clemens or something like that. I don't know why he's 3,100.
Philly starter, so I should have said Halladay.
Yeah, Roy Halladay. I gotcha. All right. Outside of those Toronto guys, was there another offense you liked?
I think that Philly's also in play here too.
Yeah, I guess for me, I'm sure this game gets plenty of love, but I guess I would just be interested in stacking Philadelphia Toronto.
I get that, man. I get it. They're both in good spots.
Right. I spent years watching Chase Anderson, and when he's locked in, like almost every major league pitcher, he's pretty good. There's a lot of games where he's not, though, and he doesn't have the speed and velocity to, get guys out when he's not locating right. So Bryce Harper continues to have a nice season, and I'm the Bryce Harper hater.
Yeah, so I think that those 2 are the most optimal stacks, but then the other 3 that kind of fit together are Colorado, the Yankees, and the White Sox. Because, they're all, the White Sox and the Yankees are good, but you're not really sure what the pitcher that's going against them is going to bring today,
Yeah, exactly. And even though, we don't love Paxton here, I know he's still pretty good if he starts pitching better today, so I'm not trying to load up on Tampa.
No, Tampa's more in, the Detroit category, even though we're not using – I'd rather use Tampa than Detroit, but they're kind of far down on the list. The Yankees, like Rockies and White Sox, though, I could see either any of those teams having good days offensively.
I'm not super interested in the Yankees stack because they're missing all their best players. But Luke Voigt is killing it right now, and he's extremely affordable. I could definitely get on board with this one.
For sure.
And that's the other point for pitching today, guys. Offenses are priced down. If you want to get them, price doesn't matter today. Just play who you want.
Yeah, exactly. So if you like a cheaper guy, leave money on the table.
Yeah, that's something that, especially in these shorter day slates, I know you've always been a high proponent of. Just because you get a different build, then it sucks. Because I know for you, the goal is to win a GPP, and it sucks splitting it with 3 other people.
Yeah, it sucks, or 15 other people, or whatever it is on those big-ass slates. This slate does seem like more of a cash build, though, which is interesting.
Yes, I wouldn't agree with that. You could always use my boy Gleyber Torres as well. Definitely looked like he was getting hotter. Last couple of games have not gone swimmingly, but you could get back after him today as well.
I mean, I'm starting to think that even some Toronto might be lower owned here because you literally don't need all the value.
That's a good point. So that goes hand in hand with what we just talked about leaving money on the table. Is Grichuk should be a lock in my eyes.
But all
there
of
are people that'll skip him because he's so cheap.
If you roster Grichuk, Shaw, and Tellez, okay, let's say that's the middle of their lineup. All of a sudden, there's no way you're going to be able to fill the salary cap in your roster. I feel like. I guess it's possible, but only if you really went out of your way to. I mean,
and you can definitely get whoever you want.
Yeah, and there's cheap catchers, so you're going to have another one in there. That's definitely a build I could see leaving money off the table, for sure.
And Shaw's looked decent the last couple of days. And forget, Travis Shaw was really good for Milwaukee for 2 straight seasons before he had a bad year last year, and so did Aguilar for a little bit. I'm still a little annoyed the Brewers just gave up on these guys so quickly, but
yeah,
we saw him hit 30 home runs back-to-back years.
It's funny because on this particular slate, these guys should be 4,500 and up. they're not $4,500 hitters, but they're in the best spot of the day by far.
Yeah, this Howard guy has massively struggled so far this year. So doesn't mean that'll happen today, but it's been a rough go of it early on.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to run off like a Brandon Lau, like he's been seeing it well.
Sure.
I think that could be a way to be different on the slate, is just like one off one of the Tampa Bay guys.
Yeah, I mean, Paxton gives up home runs and Tampa has power, so I'm fully on board with that.
I don't see anything as far as experience that's going to tell you to play one guy or not here or anything like that. So, okay.
I don't feel great with this slate. It's not like a slate that I love personally. Toronto's in the best spot. I never really want to roll with Toronto chalk. But man, this game, the Philly-Toronto game, is easily like where you think the most offense will come from.
Yeah, I actually think I will do this. I don't play a ton of MLB cash games, but like the other night, I told you I played heavier MLB cash than I had all year because I just liked my lineup. It didn't mean I was going to win, but you feel better about putting your money in when you're comfortable with what you have.
Yeah, that's all it is, man. So I understand that like 100% here.
I know we've all entered a million lineups we felt great about that have crashed and burned, and we've won on days we hated what we were entering, but you still feel better about putting your money in when it's something you like.
That stuff happens, but the worst is when you like tilt enter and you don't even love the slate and you enter big and then you don't like, and then you lose all your money. That's by far the worst.
It is. I try not to do that, although
Same.
I haven't done it in forever. Well, mostly because DFS wasn't a thing for weeks. But I was on this sick hot run for a year where every time I played like an absolute moron and like went after the late NBA slate because my guy got hurt or foul trouble early, like multiple GPP wins and like big wins when I had no business even being in the slate. Like I'm like, maybe this is just means I should never try.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, it's going to start to create bad habits when you get super lucky doing stupid things.
True.
All right. So Harper, brought up Lau real quickly. The thing about Lau is he's good. He's on fire. And nobody's going to probably pay this money for him with a lefty on lefty matchup.
Yeah, he's just really good. So as a
I know you're a
one-off,
big fan of his.
yeah, if you're like stacking chalky at Toronto and Philly and you want to be different in one spot, I get that for sure.
Yeah, because that's all it takes sometimes on these small slates, right? You get a Lau at what, 5%?
Yeah, something like that. Very low today.
The only reason he's probably even that high is because people have the money.
Yeah, exactly. You see ownership on these slates like very concentrated, like very much so. So, I remember there was a slate like this maybe a week ago where the Yankees were on the day slate and they were in a little bit of a tougher matchup. I mean, they all came in at like 5% owned because all the ownership. It might have been that slate where Detroit was chalk, which was a couple weeks ago. I can't remember exactly, but a lot of times the ownership gets very concentrated on these slates.
All right, guys. So that's kind of a short summary of what it is we're looking at doing today. I guess we're looking at Giolito Marquez as of right now, but the arguments for Javier and Turnbull and even Paxton are legitimate and real. There's no reason to use Howard today, just because you have all the money you need, and I just don't think you need a 4K pitcher personally.
I think Howard would make sense because it's leverage against chalky Toronto, and if you want like Colorado and Houston.
Yeah, I can see that. Although I don't want to pick on my boy Marquez. It can happen, but I just don't feel good about picking on Marquez.
I get that. In tournaments, though, I would say Houston, while they're not likely to get there, probably has the most upside just because of the spot they're in Coors.
Sure. And as far as Houston and Coors goes on the 4-game slate, they're still all going to be double-digit percentage guys, but it's not going to be like 70% like it could be other days.
No, also definitely have to see their lineup. And normally I don't care about one hitter, but I mean, Bregman, they're already missing
Brantley and Alvarez.
They're already missing Brantley and Alvarez, which are two guys that profile well against Marquez. So now you take out their overall like best hitter. I mean, now you all of a sudden they have guys like you look at their lineup last night. I mean, they were good because Castellani was not good, but their lineup is full of holes.
Yeah, and Altuve has a 531 OPS this year, so I know that's a name, but he hasn't played like a name all season.
He has not.
So I got you. All right, man. Well, best of luck to everybody out there today. Click that thumbs up button. If you guys want day passes, they are up on the website. We got 2 MLB slates and NBA today. And thank you very much for watching.
Thanks, guys.